the way into Spiritbound. And it's kind of just a quick scene to make you start thinking about what might happen in this book. If you read Blood Promise, wait, was it Blood? No, it was Shadow Kiss. You might recall Rose getting a tarot reading. And in this scene, she is revisiting the same people and getting a new fortune. And so you can go home tonight and wonder what it all means. So obviously she's at the royal court again, and I'm losing my voice. Ambrose was a true oddity in our culture, a male vampire who had neither taken guardian vows nor run off to hide among humans. Female vampires often chose not to join the guardians in order to focus on raising families. That's why we were so rare. But men, they had no excuse as far as most people were concerned. Rather than skulk off in disgrace, however, Ambrose had chosen to stay and simply work for the Maroy another way. He was essentially a servant, a high-class one who served drinks at elite parties and gave massages to royal women. They'd been having a conversation, so they're jumping up in the middle of this. You too, he told me. But if you aren't communing with nature, what are you doing? It's a long story, I told him. I kind of got thrown out of a council meeting. He looked impressed. Literally thrown out? Well, dragged, I told him. I'm waiting for it to end, but it might be a while. Well, he said, if you're killing time, why don't you come see Aunt Rhonda? Rhonda? I scowled. No offense, but your aunt didn't really impress me with her abilities last time. None taken, he said cheerfully. But she's been wondering about you, and Vasilisa. So if you've got some time... I hesitated. He was right that I had nothing better to do right now. I was stuck on all my problems, not to mention that stupid council. Yet Rhonda, his fortune-telling Maroy aunt, wasn't someone I really wanted to see again. Despite my good words, the truth was that in retrospect, some of Rhonda's predictions had been true. I just didn't like what they'd been. Fine, I said, trying to look forward. Just make it fast. He smiled again, like he could see through my ruse, and led me off to a building I'd been to once before. It housed a luxurious salon and spa frequented by Royal Maroy. Lisa and I had our nails done there, and as Ambrose and I wound our way through it to Rhonda's lair, I felt a strange pang within me. Manicures and pedicures. They seemed like the most trivial thing in the world, but on that day they'd been wonderful. Rhonda told fortunes in a back room that was far from the busy spa. Despite the seedy feel of it, she did pretty brisk business, and even had her own receptionist. Or, well, she used to. This time the desk was empty, and Ambrose led me straight through to Rhonda's room. It looked exactly the same as before, like being inside a heart. Everything was red. The wallpaper, the decorations, and the cushions covering the floor. Rhonda herself sat on the floor, eating a cup of yogurt, which seemed terribly ordinary for someone who allegedly wielded mystical powers. Curly black hair cascaded around her shoulders, making the large gold hoops in her ears gleam. Rose Hathaway, she said happily, setting the yogurt aside. What a nice surprise. Shouldn't you have seen me coming? I asked dryly. Her lips twitched with amusement. That's not my power. Sorry to interrupt your dinner, Ambrose said, gracefully folding his muscled body as he sat down. Rose isn't easy to catch a hold of. Figured I should bring her when I could. I imagine not, she said. I'm impressed you got her to come at all. What can I do for you, Rose? I shrugged and sat down, too. I don't know. I'm only here because Ambrose talked me into it. She didn't think your last reading was very good, said Ambrose. Hey, I shot him a chastising look. It's not exactly what I said. Last time, Lissa and Dimitri had been with me. Rhonda's tarot cards had shown Lissa crowned with power and light. No surprise. Rhonda said Dimitri would lose what he valued most. And me? Rhonda told me I'd kill the undead. I scoffed at that, knowing I had a lifetime of Strigoi killing ahead of me. Maybe another reading would help the other one make more sense, she offered. My mind was putting together another fraud psychic joke, which was why it was so astonishing when my mouth said, that's the problem. The other one did make sense. I'm kind of afraid of what else the cards will show. The cards don't make the future, she said gently. Something's meant to be, it'll be, regardless of whether you see it here. And even then, well, the future's always changing. If we had no choices, there'd be no point in living. See now, I said flippantly, that's the kind of vague gypsy response I was hoping for. Roma, she corrected, not gypsy. Despite my snark, she still seemed to be in a good mood. Easygoing attitudes must have run in their family. Do you want the cards or not, she asked. Did I? She was right about one thing. The future would unfold with or without me seeing it in the cards. And even if the cards showed it, I probably wouldn't understand it until afterward. Okay, I said, just for fun. I mean, last time was probably a lucky guess. Rhonda rolled her eyes, but said nothing as she began shuffling her tarot deck. She did it with such precision that the cards seemed to move themselves. When she finally stopped, she handed the deck to me to cut. I did, and she put it back together. "We did 3 cards before," she said. "We got time to do a more elaborate one if you'd like." I shook my head. "Just 3. The more there are, the more likely it is that anything can get explained." That made her smile again. "Okay, just 3. "Wait," I said. "Maybe 4. She laughed out loud. "That's not how it works. There's specific types of readings with their own numbers. One has 3, another has 10. You can't pick and choose your numbers." "Oh," I said. She flipped up 3 cards, and then after a moment, a 4th. "This will be a special arrangement," she said, "just for you." "As long as it doesn't make the cards mad," I said uneasily. "Well," she said, "seeing as you don't believe in them, it shouldn't be an issue." Her eyes knocked on the cards, 2 of which had come out upside down. I didn't take that as a good sign. Last time I'd learned that made seemingly happy cards, well, not so happy. The first one was the 2 of Cups, showing a man and a woman together in a grassy, flower-filled field, while the sun shone above them. Naturally, it was upside down. Cups are tied to emotions, Rhonda explained. The 2 of Cups shows the union, a perfect love and blossoming of joyous emotions. But since it's inverted... "You know what?" I interrupted. "I think I'm getting the hang of this. You can skip that one. I have a good idea what it means." Ambrose chuckled beside me, and some of Rhonda's good cheer dimmed a little. I don't think she liked being interrupted. Still, she respected my request and went on to the next one, the Queen of Swords, which was also upside down. Cards like this refer to people, Rhonda told me. The Queen of Swords was very imperious, with auburn hair and silver robes. The Queen of Swords is very clever. She thrives on knowledge. She can outwit her enemies and is ambitious. I sighed. "But upside down, said Rhonda, trying not to laugh. "All of those traits get twisted. She's still smart, still trying to get her way, but she's doing it through insincere ways. There's a lot of hostility and deception here. I'd say you have an enemy." "Yeah," I said, eyeing the crown. "I think I can guess who that is. I just called her something and got thrown out of council." Rhonda didn't comment and moved on to the next one. It was facing the right way, but I kind of wished it wasn't. It had a whole bunch of swords stuck in the ground, and a woman tied and blindfolded to one. 8 of Swords. "Oh, come on," I exclaimed. "What is it with me and swords? You gave me one that's depressing last time." It had shown a woman weeping in front of a wall of swords. "That was the 9 of Swords," she agreed. "It could always be worse." I don't know about that," I said. She picked up the rest of the deck and scanned through it, finally pulling out one card, the 10 of Swords. "You could have drawn this," she said. It showed a dead guy lying on the ground with a bunch of swords driven through him. Point taken," I said. "What does the 9 mean?" "The 9 is being trapped," she said, "unable to get out of the situation. It can also mean slander or accusation. It involves summoning the courage to escape something." I glanced back at the Queen, thinking of the things I said in that council room. Those would definitely count as accusations. And being trapped? Well, there's always the lifetime of a possibility of paperwork. I sighed. "Okay, what's the last one?" It was the best-looking one in the bunch, the 6 of Swords. Had a bunch of people in a boat rowing off over moonlit water. "A journey," she said. "I was just on a journey," I said. "A few of them." I eyed her suspiciously. "Oh, this isn't like some kind of spiritual journey, is it?" Ambrose laughed again. "Rose, I wish you'd get tarot readings every day." Rhonda ignored him. "If it were in Cups, maybe, but swords are tangible. Action. This is a true and out-about journey." Where on earth would I go, I wondered. Did it mean I was traveling to the academy like Tatiana had suggested? Or was it possible that, in spite of all my rule-breaking and calling Her Royal Highness names, I might actually get an assignment after all? One away from court? If so, I wish the cards would tell me if it was Supplissa. That would teach me to turn down the 10-card spread. "Does any of this help you?" Rhonda asked. I scanned the cards. Heartache, an enemy, accusations, entrapment, travel. "Some of it tells me things I already know," I said. "The rest leaves me with more questions." She smiled knowingly. That's how it usually is. Thanks.
I just want to, guys, get you to thank Richelle one more time for her fantastic